There's so much that I want to tackle in today's video, but before we start working, I want to talk to you all about how I grow my ranunculus. Every year I grow ranunculus and they are a must for me in the garden. Let me go through the process on how I grow my ranunculus because I like to share these tips and tricks with you in order to help you save money in your garden. You can buy ranunculus every year. I've seen them as low as $2.99 all the way up to $17, almost $18 a plant. Yes, so just imagine if you're trying to do like a window box, how I went in and I planted up my window box, and then you want to do some matching containers to go with that. That could add up pretty quick. I'm going to go through the process on how I grow my ranunculus, and then we're also going to plant up some beautiful ranunculus, and I'm going to try to get all of this done before I have to go to my appointment. When I start off my ranunculus, I do some succession plantings with my ranunculus. The reason why I do succession plantings is to make sure that I have a continuous bloom of ranunculus, like continuously in bloom until it's too hot to keep them in my garden. Ranunculus are going to like more of that cool type weather, that true spring weather. Now, if you live in an area where it gets really hot, it's extremely hot during the springtime, you're going to want to plant your ranunculus earlier, or should I say sooner than later. Start off with my ranunculus. They grow from a corm. So I've showed you all on my channel before where we've went in and I've showed you how the roots grow out of the top of the ranunculus, out of the top of the corm. The process of pre-sprouting is very easy, and the reason why you want to pre-sprout is because you're going to get blooms 3 to 4 weeks sooner than if you planted the corm straight in the ground. I've been getting messages over on Instagram and down in the comment section, and people are asking, is it too late for me to pre-sprout my ranunculus? I always say it's better to go ahead and try in your own garden, in your environment. That way you will actually be able to see if you need to start sooner for the next year. I would definitely pre-sprout them. By pre-sprouting them, you're going to get your blooms 3 to 4 weeks sooner. When I pre-sprout my ranunculus corm, use a bucket with a fish aquarium diffuser, which aids in providing an oxygen-rich environment for the ranunculus corms. If you don't have one on hand, don't worry. A slow trickle of water will do the trick. I use organza bags and I put my corms down in there. I like to keep my varieties together, and then I put them down inside of the bucket. Once inside of the bucket, I let them just sit there because this process takes about 3 to 4 hours. If I know that the environment that I'm going to keep my ranunculus in is more humid, then I probably would go on the 3 side. But most often, I try to aim about 3.5 hours. And sometimes I am guilty. I have went over the 4 hours just by a little bit, not by much. But in order to mitigate that, I like to use soil that's a little bit drier. I put a little bit of water in there, and you want it as wet as like a wrung out towel. I put my soil down in the bottom of there, and then I start to line my ranunculus corms up. Then I take a plant labeler and I divide my rows. By doing that, then I'm able to keep everything separated, because otherwise I'll have to wait until everything is in bloom in order to see what type of ranunculus I have. Just typically when I plant them anyways, but I still like to keep everything separated. That way I know how many corms made it and how many corms did not make it, because that can change my container arrangement that I'm planning for in the springtime. Then from there, I put the humidity dome on there and I give them no more water. You can put them in a cool, dry place. A lot of times I would just sit them off in a room that isn't really used. Then I look in on them periodically. If I see any corms that is starting to mold, I go ahead and I snatch that out right away. Once I start to notice that I have sprouts, then I immediately bump them up into cans, and then from there the process starts. I wait and I wait. I like to use my fish fertilizer in order to fertilize them, and by using my fish fertilizer, I can get beautiful blooms and beautiful results. Now, whatever fertilizer you like to use is on you, but for me, I use fish fertilizer. So I'm just telling you or sharing with you my process and how I get my ranunculus from corm to bloom. That's simple. Drop down in the comment box and let me know if you are pre-sprouting any ranunculus this year. Do you have any ranunculus already growing alone? Do you have ranunculus in containers? I would certainly love to hear about it. One of the main problems that I noticed, which stops a lot of people from having success with the ranunculus corms, is going to be pests. And I hate to tell you, and actually what we'll do is I want to look and evaluate to see if there are any type of the pests on here. So let's get in close and take a peek. Number one problem that I found with ranunculus is going to be aphids. Now you can see here we have a good example of aphids, and this is the worst enemy for your ranunculus. To treat them, you can blast them off with water. You can spray, of course, but what I like to do is I go in and I'll just smush that just like that. And I thought I seen maybe an egg somewhere. Let's see. Here's another one. I look on the underside of the leaves here. Let's slow this down just a bit. There, I found it. Do you guys see it? There we go, right there. And I take it and I just squish it in my hands. And before I plant up, I inspect all of these. So let me look at another one really quick. Again, I look on the underside. So because your ranunculus are prone to aphids, before I pot them up, I go ahead and I just check. Let's check one more. Found one. So what I'll do is I'll go in and I'll get each one off. And then I will blast these. Here's another one. And I just crush them. Also, you can use insecticidal soap too. If you don't want to spray, you can also make your own recipe as well. Check this one real quick. Yeah, so because I found more than 3 that have aphids on them, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll just spray all of these. Now, if you choose not to spray in your garden, I mean, you got to do what works for you. But this would be quite a big investment to just let fall by the wayside due to aphids. It's inevitable when you're dealing with plants too. That I know I have quite a few that have aphids on them, then what I'll do is I'll go in and spray. And actually this one right here, it is loving its life. Oh yeah. Here have both small ones in adults. So it has, you know, adults on here as well. So this one right here, I'm going to spray it down and might toss this one. It's just one. I don't know. I may not. I might just keep it. It just all depends. I'm going to show you all what I use. Let's get down to business.
Let's get down to business.
I'm going to go in. I'm going to use it as a spray first. This one is covered. Aphids. Can you see them? And I blast them until I can't see anymore. And so I'm not seeing any under the leaves here, but I just spray it all over. And then I do get the top surface. I get that as well. I try to make sure every single stem is covered, and I will go through this process with all of my ranunculus that are currently waiting to be planted out, because I don't want to plant this outside in my garden and then it takes over. I have seen entire spring shows destroyed by aphids. Thing to keep in mind when I water these, I will come in and I will go ahead and hit them with a stream of water from the water hose, and by doing such, hopefully if there's anything left behind, then I'll go ahead and I'll get that too. Now there are other things that you can use. I like to use this Garden Safe because it is safe to use on fruits and vegetables. You can use it indoor and outdoor, and I'll try to link this down in the description section. So one of the things also too that I've noticed is that it's best to keep some of this Garden Safe or any type of whatever you use. If you know that every year you have a problem with aphids and whatever you use to treat it, keep some of that on hand, because that way when it gets out of control, you don't have to wait a day or two in order to correct the problem, and therefore it stays very micro, very minute. So now what I want to do is, there are some containers that we need to pull. They look a hot mess express. Feel like it'd be very easy for us to pull these out, because I do have an appointment that I need to get to. We'll head outside. I don't think it's going to take much to pull everything out, because we planted them up in the springtime, so they really should come right out. So I'll try to get as much as I can get done. I have to be to my appointment because I can't be late, and with the St. Louis traffic, sometimes it's good and sometimes it is a nightmare. And they lift right out. The tulip bulbs, you can save the tulip bulbs. You can compost your tulip bulbs. Most of us use tulips as annuals because it is hard to find tulips that come back year after year. But I know a secret to get your tulips to come back every year. But I'm going to say that for when I get a little bit bigger. Because you know how it is when you're a smaller creator. You show something, they take it, they change it a little bit, and then now they're going viral and you stuck at your same 1,000 views, honey. And I ain't bitter about it, but we're going to wait till I get a little bit bigger, okay? I'm going to go ahead and take the tulip bulbs out.